Good evening and welcome to the Revere City Council meeting of January 29, 2026. All rise and salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members. Councilor Argenzio.
Here.
Here. Councilor Cogliandro.
Here.
Here. Councilor Janino is absent. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Here.
Here. Councilor Haas.
Here.
Here. Councilor Kelly.
Here.
Here. Councilor McKenna. Here. Here. Councilor Mercurio.
Here.
Here. Councilor Novoselsky.
Here.
Here. Councilor Silvestri.
Here.
Here. And Council President Zambudo.
Here.
Here. Quorum is present. Approval of the journal of the regular meeting of January 12th.
So move.
All in favor, all opposed?
Aye.
So moved.
Mr. President,
Councilor McKenna,
a point of personal privilege, please.
state your point, please.
Thank you. I would like to thank Roca for shoveling the public stairs at Brad Street, Winthrop Ave, and Previty's Way. I want you to know that Previty's Way used to be Unity Ave, and multiple people use that, those public stairs to come down and use the T station, so thank you. I also want to thank the DPW and the new plow drivers. They filled up every blue bucket that holds the rock salt several times before the storm, when all the stores ran out. They got slammed on Facebook for not doing a good job, but with the amount of snow we got, we haven't had in the last several years, they did a good job keeping up with it. And I want people to realize that we all have new plow drivers, and they have to work at it to get the, to get it. We don't have the Mercurio brothers anymore. We've lost them, the veterans of the plowers. So be patient, people. I mean, they're doing a good job. And lastly, and I'm not trying to make any waves here, but not waves, but get accolades. I would like to thank the mayor because I called him with a number of problems, and I called him directly, and he resolved it. So I just want to say thank you, and that's my phone ringing. So I'm going to end this now. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor.
Mr.
Councilor
President?
Guarino Sawaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd also like to take a minute to recognize the DPW workers, first and foremost. Some of them worked 36 to 48 hours straight. And what people need to understand is they are doing the best that they can. There was a ton of snow. And sometimes they have to come out more than once to get what you want done. But they have, I called upon them, I have to tell you, at least 20 to 25 times every single day this week. And they did everything I've asked. It may have taken a little bit of time, but they did do a great job. They came by the house to make sure that everything was good. They made sure that the mayor also was aware of everything. I texted him, I texted all the DPW workers. And some of them, what you have to realize is they're on a salary. They don't get paid for overtime. And they worked tons and tons and tons of overtime to help the residents. So please, residents, I know we have another storm coming. Please, please, please reach out to your city councilors, and we will let the DPW know, and they are doing an amazing, amazing, amazing job. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Madam.
Calendar item number 3, hearing called as ordered on a bond authorization for the renovation of the McKinley School in the amount of $37 million.
This is a public hearing, so we'll hear from the proponents.
Well, good evening, honorable body. Congratulations, Mr. President. I'll be really brief. I know this is a public hearing, but Rich Viscay, our CFO, and Tom Skorofsky, Chief of Planning, are going to go through the slides. But just today we had a MNRECC meeting, MNREC, which we're a member of. We have now officially expanded to 3 communities, which has been the hopes of the city for many years. It was the initial reasons why we created this group of regional call centers, but we only had 2. So now we have 3, and we actually will have this build-out, we'll have the ability to add even more. But it really struck me today when we had police and fire departments from Chelsea added into the group of Winthrop and Revere, and their leadership. The city manager was there, their 911 call takers, leadership, and just having the expertise in the room. That's just the soft benefits that we're gonna continue to get from this program. And again, the other financial benefits that Rich will lay out, and you'll just hear about more and more. But down the road, adding more communities reduces our city's assessment when it comes to the overall operating cost of a 911 by hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You add another community, it's another few $100,000 a year. I'm not going to pretend to you and say that this project is neutral, and it always costs us money, but we have a school that's been vacant for 10+ years, and we're going to give it new life, and it's going to be put towards great community use. We always talk as a community about how can we better use space in our city for community, and I know that there's always the angst of, is it going to be housing and things like that? So no, this is going to be take city parcels that we're using to rent space out of. We're going to take that and in-house it. We're going to put it towards public safety use, and we're also going to put it towards educational purposes and beyond. So I'm excited to revitalize that neighborhood and that school, and I'm really grateful for you to take the time and listen to our presentation tonight. Thank you very much, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Director.
Good evening, councilors. I will go through the nuts and bolts of the McKinley School renovation plan, and then I'll hand it over to Rich, who will talk about the money. So the McKinley School renovation project is really the renovation of 2 buildings in one. So there's the historic 1904 building, which is what will house the Early Childhood Center and the municipal offices for parking and retirement, and then the new 1924 building, which will house the Metro North Rec, as the mayor had indicated, bringing Chelsea, Revere, and Winthrop together under one roof for purposes of public safety coordination. And there'll be, you see there in pink, kind of a central corridor in between that will link the 2 buildings. But for all intents and purposes, there'll be 2 separate buildings. They're seismically separated. They have different systems, different modes of egress, and for all intents and purposes, 2 different buildings. Here's the early childhood school at elevation. Here is what the rec building will look like. So certainly similar, but there is some distinctive design characteristics that make them stand out and look different from one another. And then here are the municipal offices in the back. This is the Foster Street view. You've got the retirement board's offices on the right and parking on the left. And then here's the landscape plan. What you see here is we'll have a cross-block connection linking Foster Street and Yeaman Street. We'll have some additional tree plantings. There's going to be a preschool playscape that's mandated by law as we're providing an early childhood center. There's a welcoming and arrival space for parents, teachers, and students as they're coming into the building, as well as a community gathering space that will serve purposes both for the students but also workers at the rec, parking, retirement, and just generally for users of the building. And then of course there's parking. There's 48 parking spots together between on-street and off-street spaces. And here's the proposed design at elevation. What things will look like when all is said and done. As the mayor indicated, it's a building that's been vacant for over a decade, and I think we all can agree what we see here will be a beautiful highlight to the neighborhood, the Broadway corridor, and just overall the city. So briefly to go over the program between the 3 different uses. First, we'll start with the 911 call center. It will have a training and EOC center, a state-of-the-art dispatch room. In the basement, there'll be bunk rooms and a fitness center. There'll be offices for rec administrative staff, and again, serving Chelsea, Winthrop, and Revere all together. What you see up here is what the entrance will look like for the rec. This is from the Yeaman Street view. And just to go over a few renderings of what things will look like on the inside. Here's the training and EOC center. So this will both be for rec staff, but this can also be another resource. We're always needing more community space, more training space, both for municipal and other purposes. This will be right here on the first floor of the building. Accommodates about 30 people, but it could be larger, and I can just think of an event for a Ward 5 community meeting we had a few weeks back that things like that could also be a great fit for a room like this. And here's the state-of-the-art dispatch room that's proposed to be on the second floor of the building. And then to get an overview of the Early Childhood Center. It'll have 8 classrooms, which effectively doubles the capacity of Revere Public Schools' early childhood offerings. Today, we often have to turn back many families to the system because we just have limited capacity as it is today. It will also include administrative space and offices for the teachers and staff, and an indoor play space on the 3rd floor, which is where Revere Boxing has been for the past few years. This will be a space for days like today where you can't go outside and play in the playground, but it will also be a multi-purpose space that can serve for community events and meetings and things like that. Here is just a look on the 1st floor of the classroom space. There are these little cubbies on the side for kids if they need to take a break or sit down. Hopefully we'll actually have teachers supervising them, not just children running wild as there is in this hallway, but gives you a sense of what we're going to be looking at. Here's the 2nd floor view, much of the same, and a typical classroom space. And with early childhood classrooms, you need to have restrooms and wash facilities right there within each of the classrooms. That's a DESE requirement. Of course, these are younger kids. They have different needs, and we took that into account as we were designing the building. And then the indoor play space, event space, and multi-purpose room. It's basically a big empty space, but has a lot of flexibility where we can bring in furniture for community events and things of the like. There's also a space right on the other side of the event space on the 3rd floor that is, if you're thinking about hosting a community event, it's kind of like an entryway gathering space where folks can come in and be welcomed into the building. And it will be designed as such that you could just access it from the elevator right to the 3rd floor without going to the 1st and 2nd floor classroom buildings. So there's kind of like that separation that is valuable for such a community space. And then the municipal offices. This will be the Foster Street side, serving parking and retirement. I don't have any fancy renderings for their offices. I think you all have a good idea what that'll look like. And then just briefly to go over project benefits. So, public safety modernization, we talked about that a lot when I last presented to the council. State-of-the-art regional coordination, like the mayor alluded to. There's a pretty significant cost savings for consolidation. Bringing Chelsea into the fold, we stand to save about $250,000 every year in operating costs for the city. And that actually is a number that could grow further year to year based off of increased competitiveness for state 911 grants and other factors. But this was a 2025 estimate from the REC as to what the cost savings would be for the city. And then, as the mayor mentioned, potential expansion opportunity to bring other communities into the fold and realize further cost savings. For the McKinley Early Childhood Education Center, it allows for the preschool expansion, reduces the burden on our existing elementary schools. It's going to serve a lot more families in the city. We've got as we've talked about with the council in previous years, a real child care need in the city, and this will meet that need. And also provides potential for after-school programming above and beyond the Revere Public School offerings. The City of Revere offices, owning is better than renting, and we're currently renting parking and retirement from landlords, and this will provide some cost savings. And certainly in the case of parking, which is one of the more widely used user services amongst our municipal offerings, you get a lot of people coming into this building often confused that why we have to point them to the post office to pay their parking ticket, and now we'll have kind of a cohesive City Hall campus that we can point them to a city that we own, or a building that we own. And neighborhood benefits, obviously for Broadway, it promotes further investment in the corridor, brings a new customer base adjacent to the Broadway district, both with the teachers and the folks at the rec. And finally, it provides, that revitalization of a key source of neighborhood blight and community meeting spaces, as I alluded to before. And briefly on the timeline before I hand it over to Rich, we've completed asbestos, PCB, and lead abatement, at least on the interior. and design development's been completed, and we've moved to construction drawings. Oil tanks were removed in the fall, and we closed bids on December of 2025. We have the low bid is Track Builders, and we are waiting to award a bid, hopefully with issuance of the bond authorization. We've completed we've started a radio tower microwave study, as we talked about at the last council meeting. The weather has complicated the timeline on that, but we're currently working through that late February, early March, and that will basically determine the final height of the tower. And our goal is to start construction late winter and open in the summer, fall of 2027, hopefully this summer, but depending on how things go here timeline-wise. And I will hand it over to Rich to talk about the money.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. With
Good
regard
evening,
to...
Mr. CFO.
Thank you. Okay, so for this particular project, the total estimated gross cost would be $43.5 million. Currently, we have $6.5 million worth of grant funds from the school, and we anticipate dollar-for-dollar recovery from the state's 911 emergency grant system at $19 million, based upon the estimates of what was bid on through the process of picking a construction company to do so. So total estimated cost to the city is going to come in around $17.5 million. Average annual debt service on that would be around $1.1 million a year. Of course, we don't know where the interest rates will lie, and we won't permanently bond that until the project is complete. We do have enough money on hand right now where I think in 2026 we won't have to borrow any money. We may have to do a short-term note in 2027, but I believe that the debt service will actually come on in fiscal year 2029, around $1.1 million, again, based upon the total cost upon completion and where the interest rates are at the time. But what's worth noting, and I think what a lot of people had questions on, is that the city does need to authorize a bond for $37 million because the cost of the construction contract's $31.5 million, and our bond counsel and financial advisors, we're not allowed to execute a contract for construction until we actually have the funding secured. So by authorizing a bond for $37 million, you allow me to sign the contract so that construction can start. But again, the language in the bond authorization does say that every dollar that comes in via grant actually reduces that bond authorization. So that's why we're at about a net $17.5 million. And just a brief breakdown of this, and I know that we're probably bound to committee on this, but just to give everybody a feel for it, the construction of the building, $31.5 million, that's the contract we await to sign. We've already secured our owner's project manager, OPM, for $1.2 million, architect at $3.5 million. Then there's always a contingency for the owner, which is $300,000. Construction contingency, $1.1 million, 3% of the cost of the construction, and the soft cost of $5.9 million. That budget comes out to $43.5. The apportionment right now, based upon square footage, is that the school would be 47.3% of the total space. The emergency call center will be 35.2%, and the city offices, the retirement board, and the parking department make up 17.5% of that. I just want to make note also that approximately $4.4 million of those soft costs will be directly 100% apportioned to the emergency call center to handle the furniture, fixtures, equipment, technology, radio tower, et cetera. So some of this will be apportioned out based upon square footage, but some of these expenses will be directly for the rec, and we anticipate all that money would come back net zero cost to the city in the project. And those are my two slides on the finance. Happy to try to answer any questions. I'm certainly in favor of this project as far as public meeting goes, so I'll be on record saying that I am in favor of this bond authorization project. So thank you.
Thank you. So are there any more proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side of the hearing. Any opponents, people opposed to this project? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that side of the hearing. Councilors. Councilor Agenzio.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to first say that I'm very excited about this project. The Ward 4, this McKinley School for 10 years has been kind of a blight on the neighborhood, and it looks like a beautiful project. I'm very excited about it, and I thank you for doing the test on the on the height of the tower. If it can come down a little bit, I'd appreciate it. If not, if it has to be that height, then so be it. And just to go over the bond authorization, you're just authorizing that amount of money. You're not actually going to borrow that. You'll just borrow what is necessary.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, statutorily, as part of my job, all the contracts that come through, I'm required to sign them to ensure that the funding is available. So if we try to bond the net amount, we technically don't have the funding available. So we bond, similar to the school project, we authorized $493 million.
Right.
But we know all the grants actually reduce that authorization, so it's kind of a natural protection that we can't borrow more than we get counting all the grants that we'll receive.
Okay. Thank you. I'm all set, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of questions. Will the tower be included in that price of 43.5?
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing is, I think the building's beautiful. I think it would really improve the neighborhood. I was just wondering, you said, I think and I might not be right, but you said the last meeting, the school department did contribute some money towards this. Will they be contributing every year until the bonding is paid up? It's just a one-time deal that
So
they're,
their contributions were 6.6 million, sort of upfront in that ESSER. That's where that number went from 43 to
Right.
now we're at 31.
right,
They will be responsible for their end of the maintenance when it comes to typical school maintenance. But as you know, per state law, the school Chapter 70 money does not go towards school building. The city is responsible for that end. So just like building any new school is on the city's side, the school budget is designated towards educating the students and upkeep of current schools. So towards the construction, no, not any further. We were able to use ESSER funds, which was in essence sort of an overlap of ARPA-related funds. That's why we were able to use it towards school construction. But we unfortunately, it would be nice, but they would, it would be the Department of Education feels that it would be taking away from the education, even though, you know, it all comes out of the same pot. But they will be, of course, operating. They'll be paying for all the staff. There's all of that
Okay.
that goes into operating the school will come out of the school funding, typical annual budget.
okay. I was just thinking about Suffolk Downs is creating a decorative light for their building. Could we make this, you know, this pole, the tower, like more decorative? Is there any plans in work, plans that you would do something like that and still just make it like the one, is it going to look like the one down in the VFW? That tower? Who said no? Okay.
I don't believe it'll look like the one at the VFW, which is also renting space for, you know,
Sure.
like 5G and things like that, which this will be solely for the purpose of the rec. I think as for decorating the tower, I think I could just speak as sort of the city project manager on this. My charge has been to cut costs, and that's a difficult area, I think, to significantly, I guess, embellish without adding to the number of that bond authorization. But we
Okay,
can
and-
certainly explore it.
Okay, and I just want to say one last thing. I do believe that this building will pay for itself in the long run, so I'm for it. So I mean, I think it looks beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mayor, Tom, thank you for your time coming up tonight. This is really exciting. I'm excited to see that school get, you know, some life back to it. Just a couple questions. I know we have the agreement with the cities. Will we look in future to add more cities?
That's exactly right. So we're building it to have the capability of adding at least one more community. We could possibly even add an additional, depending on the size. And again, without you know, getting too far ahead, we want to get in, operate with the 3, because that'll be new. And we know there's new training and new people, and our director's exceptionally good, and everybody knows that. But get them in, get them up to speed with responding to the 3 communities, And then we have some inquiries already from other municipalities. Because as you know, regionalization across the Commonwealth has been an initiative, and it's very hard. Some cities you see right near us are having financial setbacks. So if they can save, Chelsea's going to save about $5 million over the next 5 years. And then they'll start, because the state pays for their entire allotment for the next 5 years. They say, hey, if you regionalize, we'll pay for your entire freight. So other cities are going to want to do that, and it'll help them with cost down the road. So we'll get more inquiries, and we'll make decisions, and of course the council will have to be part of entering into any future MOAs.
Awesome to hear. Just a couple more questions, quick. With the early childhood, will all the other locations within the city also be closing, and everything will be streamlined in one location, or will we have multiple early childhood programs?
This will allow us to double the capacity of the program. So those programs will exist. I can't state, exactly if they'll stay in the same classrooms, but we can expand the capacity. We're currently at 8. Now we'll be at 16.
Is there a cost to early childhood care in the program
So-
in the city? Is there a cost to it?
So there is a cost, but, it's relatively, again, to the mayor's point, I wouldn't say cost neutral, but there are fees associated with pre-K as opposed to early, or the rest of the school programming.
And just lastly, we'll also be saving by moving the retirement services, because we're in a lease right now with where they're located, right?
Both retirement and parking.
Awesome. Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Mercurio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, do we have an operational cost of the 911 center once it's up and running? And who burdens that cost? All 3 cities?
Yeah, so.
Do we have a breakdown of that?
I'll defer to the 2 rec board members here.
Well, currently, we establish a budget. So the rec is a standalone entity. Winthrop and Revere are the 2 parts that pay the assessment. So we get an assessment, I believe the city's about 80%, and Winthrop is about 20%. Once Chelsea comes on, and we just had the meeting today, we just asked for new apportionments. It's half of the data is on call volume, and the other half is on population. So I'll just throw numbers out there. We might be, instead of 80%, we might be at 45%. But bringing Chelsea in, what it does, when they pay for all the operational costs of Chelsea, they also pay for the executive director's salary and stuff. So the overall assessment to the city is going to come down substantially because we have a 3rd member and because we get benefits of doing that. Now, that assessment pays for the operational costs so we only build in our budget the cost of the assessment, but we won't know the true cost of that until this is all complete and we have all the data, and we'll split up those apportionments between 3 communities as opposed to 2. So don't have hard numbers on that yet, but it's anticipated that they're going to come down, and they'll come down substantially in the early, and then it'll probably ramp up once those benefits of getting a merger come in. But as the mayor said, this we had a little bit of a deeper dive into the actual facility for the 911 call center, and they're building that in anticipation that they may get another community. I believe they have 16 stations for 911 call takers. We'll only use 12 when Chelsea comes in, so there'll be more capacity to actually bring someone else in and continue to have some cost savings there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Great minds must think alike, because Councilor Silvestri touched on a lot of the points that I wanted to touch on, such as the consolidation savings, bringing other communities in. And I know you said, I think, Tom, you said the study in 2025 said $250,000.
That's correct. That was right at the end of 2025 as they were presenting to Chelsea to bring them on to into the partnership.
And so the more communities we bring into that number will climb?
Correct. I mean, there's just economies of scale. There's only so much more you need to add, but then Revere's apportionment would lower each time.
And I know you said the summer or fall of 2027, so that'll be ready for the 2027 school year, I take it?
That's the goal.
Great. Definitely excited about it. Building looks great. Anytime you talk about emergency services and improvements to that, and 8 additional early ed classrooms, that's a huge thing for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a quick question following up on Councilor McKenna's comment. Would it be possible to get some estimates in terms of aesthetics for the tower, or any stealth features that maybe could be implemented or anything? Could we at least get some cost estimates for that? Because I love the project, I don't love the tower, but I understand it's necessary. But if we could maybe get some estimates on that, I think it would be great.
Councilor Kelly, thank you. When Councilor McKenna said that, I actually thought the same thing. I said, you know what, that wouldn't be a bad idea to try to make it blend in a little bit more and also be a little bit more appealing. It will be a smaller in size of the metal bars, but I think that's worthwhile. We're using Cambridge 7 as our architectural firm. They've been extremely good at looking at the historic preservation of the old McKinley School. They're very cognizant of that. Even though it's not deemed a historical site, it is to us a historical building over 100 years old. So I know that they like this project, and you know, most architects are very artsy, so we can ask them. I'm sure that they won't offer any cost to us, and see if they can do something that maybe is a little more artistic or would blend into the neighborhood a little bit more. And I would be very much in favor of that.
Just some ideas, that would be great. Thank you
Right,
so much.
Sure. If you have any color palette choices, please let us know.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gentlemen, thank you. It is a great project. I know it's not in my ward, but I have huge concerns about it. When there are call takers from Chelsea and Winthrop, they take calls from Revere also?
So there's a standard operating procedure for each fire and police dispatch, and those trainings are done currently. So every call taker knows Revere's SOP, Winthrop's SOP for both fire and police. The same will happen with Chelsea, and the one thing that we like about Chelsea is, you know, calls in second languages or other well-spoken languages, it's hard to get a lot of call takers. So Spanish, for instance, is obviously a very large call volume in the cities of Chelsea and Revere. So it adds to the amount of staff that can answer those calls, and we always have assistants on. But in the interim of the training, there'll be a monitor on each new staff member. So basically, if Tom is coming from another city and learning the Revere call SOPs, there's going to be a well-trained veteran employee or director standing by assisting those calls to make sure that Tom not only is learning on the little nuances of each city, but is doing it well. And there's not one person, not even right now, because staffing challenges, another reason why regionalization is a big thing is staffing challenges, and these high-level stress positions are becoming very, very common, lots of turnover. This consolidates resources, it helps everyone out, but they train for months before they're on their own. Months and months and months. It's not as rigorous as a police officer, but dispatch is very unique. High-level stress, knowing the streets, knowing all the information, lots of good computers that give good feedback and offer the support to police and fire, but they don't go on their own until they are ready, very ready. And that's what we appreciate most with our director. She's exceptional at making sure that.
Thank you. How many employees do we plan on the rec center? We're looking at about 12 stations on a busy night. So you can run, so for the 3 cities, you may have up to 12 stations running on a busy shift. But you probably might be able to have they go off of historical call volume, right? You know, maybe Saturday evening in the summer might be a little busier than Monday afternoon in the winter. But they go off of historical call data, and they make sure they have appropriate staff. And there's minimum staffing levels, just like the police department. You can't go below the minimum. So if there's call-outs, then you would get forced. It's just like public safety. There's force-ons and things like that. So we maintain the state-mandated minimum, and we obviously operate with some fiduciary responsibility. We're not going to have 30 people in there. And how many administrative people?
There's a director, an assistant director. There's an IT. We're going to be actually looking at and being able to afford a full-time IT manager rather than contract that out at a net neutral, but, and then there's some other supervisory staff.
And how many employees are coming in from the school department for the kids?
Oh, I think that I'd have to ask the school department on the staffing ratio for the rooms, but it would be standardized to what the requirements are, but that would, again, that would all be school department budget fully when it comes to operating the school, and janitorial, custodial.
And what I'm leading up to is, I know you mentioned the 48 parking spaces.
Yep.
Are there enough to handle all the people and guests between the 48? There's some in the back of the building and some on the side of the building.
Yep.
You know, I'm just concerned about people that are working there parking in the residential neighborhood. You know, because parking's difficult everywhere in the city, and I know it's definitely on Yeaman and Vane and, you know, all around there, so I have a concern about that.
Well, and it's particularly difficult when you have 2 feet of snow, and we've all experienced that this week. So I think you could consider parking and retirement basically a net neutral, because currently they operate without any parking in the same neighborhood. But with the other 2, we did do a systems analysis, talking with the director of the rec and early childhood respectively, to make sure we had enough parking to accommodate the needs of both user groups.
Is there going to be guest parking for the people coming into the parking department?
So there'll be new parking in the rear of McKinley, which, you know, today is...
For that?
Correct. And that's today used for, you know, the contractors across the street, so that'll be
Including retirement?
I mean, I think it'll primarily, I think we got to sort out the details of that, but it will be for both the municipal offices in the back.
Thank you. And, you know, I think a lot of my questions were answered. I had written down, but they were all answered, you know, during your presentations and some of the questions. And, you know, I'm very pleased with this. I'm happy with the numbers. I was concerned about the school department not giving enough funding to be able to pay their portion of it. So, you know, I'm satisfied with that, and I can move ahead with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of this, and so I'm not going to take up any more time. I'm going to send this to Ways and Means on the 9th of February.
Thank you.
Mr. President, can I just ask one more question? You know, is this going to be union construction?
So similar to all of our state procurement, we can't require it to be union, but obviously, because it has to be, you know, the lowest, most qualified bidder. So this builder does have signatories with a lot of union contractors, but it is not a 100% union position. Similar to the high school, it goes out, it gets, you know, you cannot restrict that. But they have the same requirements that the state with veterans preferences, woman-owned business, minority-owned business, all of the state bidding requirements are met. Prevailing wage, you name it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Calendar item number 4, hearing called is ordered on the application of Mazen Salim of Lama Company LLC, Chelmsford, Mass., requesting a special permit from the Revere City Council to enable the appellant to operate a commercial auto storage parking use for 289 vehicles on lots 17 and 18, Green Street, Revere, Mass.
Name and address for the record, please. Hit the button, please.
Mazen Salim. Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, so withdrawing without prejudice, actually, the application.
Did you get the address? I didn't hear the address. I need your address.
My address is 25 Moore Street in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, 01824.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, okay, so is that all you're going to offer for, that's all you want to talk about, right?
Is there anything I should do if I'm withdrawn? I don't know. I have the landlord agent with me, so he can...
Say that again? Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah, so I still got to go through the public hearing. Thank you very much. So that closes the proponents, I guess. Now we'll have the opponents. I don't think we have any opponents. Any councilors have any questions? To withdraw without prejudice. All in favor, all opposed? No? Roll call? Roll call.
Shall the city council allow the applicant to withdraw the application without prejudice? Counselor Agenzio?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Janino is absent. Counselor Guarino Sawaya?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Hass?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna? Yes. Counselor Mercurio?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, the application has been withdrawn without prejudice.
Thank you.
Calendar item number 5, hearing called as ordered on the application of Capri LLC, 1559 North Shore Road, requesting a special permit to reconstruct, alter, and extend the pre-existing, non-conforming, single-story structure by constructing a 2-floor addition consisting of 8 residential one-bedroom units at 1559 North Shore Road.
Proponents.
Good evening, President Zambudo and city councilors. My name is Nancy O'Neill. I am an attorney located at 14 Proctor Avenue. I represent the applicant in this matter, Capri LLC, owner of 1559 North Shore Road. And I am joined here tonight by Ms. Claudia Gallego of Capri LLC. Many of you here may know Claudia. She is a resident of Ward 6 in Revere and the owner-operator of Capri Bistro. So the applicant here is a Revere resident and local small business owner. Our proposal here tonight is to construct a 2-story addition over the Capri Bistro, which you can see here. This addition would contain 8 one-bedroom apartments. These apartments would be on the smaller side, around 360 square feet each. The total living space proposed here across all units would be 3,000 square feet. So this addition of 3,000 square feet of space is essentially the size of 3 medium apartments or the 8 smaller apartments that we are proposing here. Residential apartment use, as well as the underlying restaurant use, are allowed by right in the general business district where the property is located. And under this proposal, the footprint of the structure would not change. The proposal is to build up and create 2 new stories. So the finished building height here would be around 29 feet, which is less than half, or about half the maximum height allowed in the GB district. So this building would be on the smaller side for recent developments in the Shirley Avenue neighborhood. So the proposed apartments are designed as transit-oriented units. This property is a 3-minute walk from the Revere Beach station on the Blue Line. So given the proximity of this building to public transportation, residents are expected to utilize the train and walk to local businesses in the Shirley Avenue neighborhood for their day-to-day needs. And of course, the first floor restaurant is being retained. So again, the applicant here is the property owner, operator of the restaurant. She is looking to improve the conditions of this 125-year-old building and sustain the economic growth of Shirley Avenue. Accordingly, we respectfully request the City Council look favorably upon the application, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may have and discuss the project further at Zoning Subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other proponents? People in favor?
Tom Skorowski, Chief of Planning and Community Development. I'll be brief. You've heard enough from me tonight, but I just wanted to support Claudia's application here. She has been working with the city and our TDI partnership on a program called Build on Your Business in Shirley Avenue, where we're helping to support small business owners, providing them with opportunities and tools to help build above their business, which is both a tool to create more housing production, but also support small business owners, and in this case, a Revere resident to make their idea a reality. So this seems like a great project, pretty modest development. Happy to support it.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side of the hearing. Opponents, anybody opposed? What's that? One letter on file, you want to read it?
The name of the resident that just filed a small letter of opposition was Hakeem Ulam at 1539 North Shore Road. His main complaint was about
So
parking.
noted. Any other opponents? None. Councilors. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, right off the bat, I'll say I'm for this. It's right at the corner of where I live.
You up?
And I know Claudia very well, and we've actually been working on this for about 2 years. And with all the changes we've been having to make and doing different things and making it viable, we've been working for it, and she finally came out tonight on it. And one thing, and when it'll come out, I know we're putting this in zoning, sir?
Of course.
Okay. Just, so when it does come in zoning, will be a parking restriction like we do in all the other locations?
Yeah.
There'll be no parking and no permits issued to any of the
Well,
tenants.
It's a special permit, it has to go to zoning anyway, so.
Right.
That's
I
where it'll be.
understand that, but just so you know, and
Absolutely.
it's a nice-looking building, and I've worked with them on the architecture stuff, and I'm happy with what I see. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a couple of questions. So I noticed the application, it's referenced that water and sewer are already adequate. So there will be no upgrades being done to the water and sewer or any payments into mitigation fund or anything like that?
Press the button.
So we will discuss all of that with the site plan review committee, and if they determine that some sort of utility upgrade is needed, we're happy to do that. So we'll take care of all of that. It's very common for developers to upgrade sewer lines or water lines as needed, and we'll respond to that need.
Right, that's why I was surprised to see that the notation that it was adequate, because I didn't see that any studies were done to evidence that, but, But it's difficult for me to support. I know this is modest at only 8 units, but for me, it's more of a cumulative effect that we have, 15 here, 12 here, 8 here, and it all adds up, and it all does put a strain on our resources. So just something for us to think about, and we'll talk about it in zoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? This will be sent to zoning on the February 9th.
Calendar item number 6, hearing called as ordered on the application of Ardit Kraja, 500 Governors Drive, Winthrop, Mass., requesting a special permit to reconstruct, alter, and extend the pre-existing non-conforming structure, a garage, by constructing a 2.5-story, two-family dwelling on Lot A, Elmwood Street, Revere.
Councilor?
Good evening. Again, President Zambuto and city councilors. My name is Nancy O'Neill. I am an attorney located at 14 Proctor Avenue. I represent the applicant in this matter, Mr. Kraja, the owner of the unnumbered Elmwood Street lot, and I'm joined here tonight by Mr. Kraja. This project is for the conversion of an old garage structure on the property to a new two-family dwelling. As you can see here, the property currently contains a dilapidated freestanding garage. This is a commercial building. It has had a variety of commercial uses over the years. The structure is an eyesore. It has been in disrepair for many, many years. And it's a drain on the neighborhood, which consists primarily of 1- and 2-family residences. The applicant is looking to remove the garage, eliminate commercial use, and construct an attractive two-family home on that parcel. 4 parking spaces, which is the minimum required for a two-family, would be provided, one lot away at 55 Elmwood Street. So this proposal is for an attractive, parking-compliant two-family residence that would greatly improve the aesthetics of this neighborhood. A community meeting was held for this project in October. Attendees were positive about the project, and a letter of support from the neighbor at 71 Elmwood Street has been submitted. The neighbors are happy to see this old garage be replaced with a new home. And for these reasons, we would respectfully request that the council look favorably upon the application. And again, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have and discuss further at subcommittee. Thank you.
Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side of the hearing. Opponents, anybody opposed? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side of the hearing. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the attorney said, we did hold a community meeting. All the residents that did show up were all in favor of this building. What they're basically doing, it's the ugliest commercial garage that you'll ever see. And what they're trying to do is put a two-family on that lot, which will bring everybody's value up on that street. Also, they currently park on the street, so they are going to have a second lot, which is actually going to be dedicated to just parking. And it will take cars off the street, and that's what residents were really excited about. They don't want to look at that garage anymore, and they would really like to see the parking come off the street so they can park their car on the street. That was word for word what was said at the meeting. And for me, seeing all the residents that were there, not one was not in favor. It's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I can definitely see the residents' point of view replacing this garage with a brand-new structure. That is a very tempting, and from an aesthetic point of view, I can understand why they love that. However, this lot is only 2,250 square feet, is that correct?
Oh, yes, that's right.
So for a single-family home, we're up around 4,500 square feet minimum pursuant to our zoning, I believe. So to me, we're not dealing with just, a few hundred feet making an exception or something like that. We're basically would be approving only half, the amount that would be required for a single-family home for a two-family. So I'm very, very concerned with setting that precedent. That would be my only concern with this. Maybe a single family, maybe, but even then, at this point, it's not so much that we're basically just not, we're redefining our entire zoning code to allow something like this. And again, I'm just concerned about the precedent that it sets. Anybody else that has a 2,200 square foot lot is going to want to put a two-family on it. And we're going to be subject to litigation if we deny it, because they're going to point to this precedent. So it's a big concern for me. But I can see why the neighbors would want, a new building here. I just don't know if a two-family is the way to go. Thank you.
Council Mercurio?
Thank you. So it's a 2,200 square foot lot?
Yes, that's correct. I can speak to the history of this neighborhood a little bit. So when this neighborhood was laid out in the 1880s, the 2,200 square feet, 2,250 was the base lot size. So on this street, Bates Street, Thorndike Street, Fairfield Street, most of the lots were built on that 2,250 square feet. So there are a number of houses on this street that are two families and are the same size lot. So this would really just be in line with all the homes that were built in this portion of the Revere Street neighborhood.
And where is the parking going to be?
So we have a board that we can get that will show you. But at this property, it would be this proposed residence, another two-family residence next to that. And then there would be a shared parking for this structure and the neighboring structure that would have 8 spaces. So this structure would have 4, the structure next door would have 4, and those 2 structures would be compliant with.
So the parking's going to be on someone else's property?
So it would be the property of the owner.
The owner owns the other structure?
Yes, that's right.
And what if the owner decides to sell the property?
There would be easement rights for that lot. So those parking spaces
So you're going to create an
always-
easement for this?
Yes, that's right. So the parking spaces would always be dedicated to this lot.
I'm going to have to be on board with Ms. Kelly on this one. We're going to set a precedent if we're going to build on 2,200 square foot lots now in Revere. We're putting big buildings on 5,000 square foot lots. This is going to set a precedent all across the city. I would be in favor of a single family in the lot, but a two-family, I can't support that at this time. That's a small lot, 2,200 square feet. That's all. Thank you.
Councilor Cogliandro, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I'm getting messages from the abutter on the right. They're not happy about this at all, and I wouldn't be either. How many feet are between this house and the O'Donnell house on the right?
So that would be a 3 feet
Three
setback,
feet. And how tall are you going?
35 feet.
You're going 35 feet high, and it's 3 feet from this house next to it. I cannot support this. Thank you.
Counsel Silvestri?
I was going to wait to zoning, but that was my question right there was from the picture, the distance between the garage and that house to the right, they literally could reach out the window and open the other guy's window. This is, I don't know, in the abutters, you said are for this, but now you said the one is not? Yeah, this is, I don't know. This is tight. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Any other counselors? This is going to zoning on the 9th, February.
Public comment pursuant to Chapter 402 of the Acts of 1965.
Anybody interested in public comments? Doesn't look like it. We'll move on. Call the chief.
2 items out of order. Request suspension of rules to take the 2 items out of order.
On suspension of the rules, to take a couple of items out of order. All in favor or opposed? Aye.
Calendar item number 9, communication from the Chief of Police requesting approval of a 5-year contract with Axon Enterprises for the procurement of body-worn cameras for sworn police officers.
Chief, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for taking me up front. Appreciate it. So I'm here to request approval for 2 separate contracts. I'll start with the first body-worn camera program. So this has been talked about for a long time with the Revere Police Department, and the department's ready to implement this technology. So this technology will increase public trust and transparency. It's going to provide objective information to us, which will in turn protect the integrity of the officers and hold officers accountable for any misconduct. Instead of relying on third-party narratives and officers' recollection of events, we'll be able to view video and make determinations. Other advantages are it will document crime scenes when officers get on scene that can be used in criminal matters. We'll capture spontaneous utterances from defendants and victim and witness statements. And this particular model also offers real-time translation for over 50 languages. So we're really excited about that, that aspect of it. So I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Okay, Councilor Guarino-Sawaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. I completely agree with the chief. The cameras provide accountability, and they build trust between the officers and the community. I motion to approve this.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, Captain, thank you for coming out tonight and being here. And this is long overdue, as you said. And I not only to capture our officers, you know, if they're doing something wrong, but actually to make sure that they're not being falsely accused of things. And when they're doing them right and people can come out and say, hey, he did this and this, well, now we have the proof. I rarely hear bad things about our police officers on the streets, about excessive force or anything like that. So I think it's going to benefit us, and I appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. It definitely has been shown to reduce frivolous complaints. And it's helpful for that, and, you know, any lawsuits that may be filed that are unwarranted, so.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in full support of this. I just had a quick question. I noted here that you refer to the video evidence being preserved, how is it just kept on a drive, and for how long, and who can access it? And are there any protocols in place to, if the public wanted to see footage, or how is all that going to be handled?
Yes, so it's a cloud-based system. It's actually a digital evidence management system that we're already using to preserve other types of video. So that's one of the benefits, that it'll be a seamless transition. And yes, so just like any other piece of evidence or document that we have, it will be subject to public records requests. So that could be done, and then we would determine if it's appropriate to release it, if there's some exemption that applies, and then if not, then things need to be redacted. So that's another thing that's included in this contract, that we have redaction software to appropriately redact license plates, people's faces in certain circumstances.
So is there a time limit for how long it's stored?
I'd have to double check on certain, there are certain ones that are never deleted, and then there are ones that will overwrite at some point, so we can set those parameters. Joe, do you have it, can you speak to that?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Turner?
The retention, we call it a retention schedule. Retention schedule is how long we can hold on to it's incident type based. So a great example would be the lowest type of video we'll have is training videos. We can actually use the cameras to train, which is great because we'll do whatever drill we do, we put it on the TV, what we did right and wrong. That would be that's our choice, not by law. That's like a 7-day, we'll just get rid of it, it's deleted. Something that's more significant, like certain types of domestic crime, any form of property crime, things like that, the state has certain regulations regards to how long we're supposed to retain it. And as a matter of fact, Lieutenant Romboli is headed to a big course next week on that specific topic, on exactly how to retain it, how long to retain it. And we just follow guidance. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We do exactly what the state tells us we're supposed to do with which crime, how long we save that video. So,
Perfect, thank you so much.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel McKenna. Okay, thank you. Counsel Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am so excited about this because I believe that some of these videos are going to be how we can set an example for how policing is supposed to be done. I have seen nothing but amazing things from our department. Just a quick budgetary question. Is this grant funded? Is there going to be some sort of a necessity for more funding down the road?
So this will be a 5-year contract, so it is divided up. What we are waiting on is a determination. We applied for a grant that would cover the first year for $250,000. We should have that. We were supposed to have it already, so I'm hoping we get that answer soon as far as how much. But then the timetable ticks forward and covers us for 5 years.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Mercurio.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great, I read most of this proposal by this company, and it's very thorough of all the equipment that they're supplying and the support they are. This is a 5-year contract. At the end of the 5 years, what happens?
We look at, whether we want to continue with the program and what that looks like and what it costs, and any other, technology that we might be able to take advantage of and go from there.
And they supply an IT person for the first year with this company?
So there is a service contract that they are, extremely, so Axon Enterprises, one of the reasons that we love this company is they are very customer friendly, and they've been supportive. Again, we already use them for digital evidence management and the tasers, which is the next thing on the agenda. So yes, they will be responsive and helpful.
So they'll set up a little room within the police department that will handle the IT part of this program?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. It's all iCloud-based?
It's cloud-based, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cloud-based. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Cogliandro is going to kill me for this, but Counselor Silvestri.
Thank you for the President. Thank you for the leeway, Mr. President.
I'll
Chief,
explain.
just a real quick question. When I might have When you said there's actually live translation, is that meaning the cops will get a translation in their earpiece, or?
So it's going to come directly out of the body camera itself, but yes, it's real-time translation. So
wow.
they hit the button, you speak, it comes out, I speak, and it comes back out in your language.
Oh, wow, that's an awesome
And
feature.
the whole thing is recorded, so we know we can rely on it.
Oh, that is really, really good feature. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Before I call for a roll call, I just want to explain that. That was a breach of Rule 8, and I had said I was going to enforce Rule 8. So that was kind of a joke because it was
That was a
only...
test, Mr. President.
Anyhow, now we'll call for the roll call.
Shall the City Council approve the 5-year contract between Axon Enterprises, Inc. and the City of Revere relative to body-worn cameras for sworn Revere police officers? Councilor Argenzio.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Janino is absent. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Hass.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Mercurio.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes, the contract has been approved.
Thank you.
Calendar item number 10, communication from the Chief of Police requesting approval of a 5-year contract with Axon Enterprises for the procurement of less lethal control devices, Taser 10.
Okay, so currently we carry Taser 7s. And one of the things we are looking to do, we are already in a 5-year contract with Taser for the Taser 7s. We're in year 4 of that. So what we would like to propose is to renegotiate with Axon and upgrade our Taser 7s early to the Taser 10 for a lot of significant reasons. So one of the things about the Taser 7s that we carry now, and I'm not sure if anybody has seen any body-worn camera footage on YouTube about Taser deployments, but typically they have 2 probes, both of which have to penetrate the person that you're trying to control. Taser 10 now has learned from the mishaps with needing to have both those probes make contact, and now it's a single probe deployment. So it will be much more effective for an officer that's struggling to try and control somebody. So we go from needing 2 to needing 1. So that's a huge benefit. The second thing is currently we have 1 cartridge with the Taser 7. The Taser 10 now upgrades to 10. So the officer would have 10 opportunities to try and make contact with somebody that they were trying to control. That's a huge benefit. The other thing is the distance needed to make contact is currently with the Taser 7, 25 feet, which extends now with the Taser 10 to 45 feet. So that's a big advantage tactically. Distance is our friend when we're trying to de-escalate and control somebody to keep our distance. So that's a huge benefit as well. The other thing I wanted to mention is they've now implemented a light and sound warning alert. So when that Taser is taken out and ready to be deployed, it actually makes lights and sound as a warning system, and that in and of itself can be a de-escalation tool. It gets people's attention. So it's going to implement nicely with the body-worn cameras before, when the officer is getting ready to deploy the Taser. If the body-worn camera has not been turned on yet, if they didn't have an opportunity to turn it on, there's a Bluetooth connection that will turn it on for them. So it's a huge benefit. The other thing is it comes with a lot of reality-based trainings for us. So there's virtual reality training that use of force things and allows us to train to make better decisions. So a lot of decision-making based scenarios that the officers can see and do. It's just something that comes with the package, so I wanted to mention it. So if anybody has any questions.
Before I Before I call on my colleagues here, I do have the CFO here. We're asking to approve this, and I don't have any numbers in front of me. Do we have a figure on the 5-year contract?
Yes, so I did provide the quote. So right now, we're in the 5-year contract. And that is, let's see. It's $232,000 over a 6-month period, which equates to a yearly cost of $46,000. The new contract will be $304,394 over 6 months, which is about $49,000 for the first, because we'll get a credit for getting out of the original contract. And then the yearly cost will be $63,000 from there on.
So it's 63,000 times, Mr. CFO, please. Just want everybody to know what they're voting on here.
Yeah, sure. So 5 years ago, we got our first contract for the tasers, and we fund that through the capital plan every year. So this will just continue to be an item in the capital plan each year that you'll appropriate money for. So it's a small increase, but typical for these types of things, and it should have no problem.
Great, now I feel a lot better about asking for a vote on this. But any questions? Councilor Argenzio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to thank the chief. This technology is very impressive. I mean, extremely, the warning system for the taser, the less lethal or less, and be able to de-escalate situations, the translation services through the body-worn cameras. I mean, very impressive, and thank you very much, and I have full support of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, I agree with my colleague. This really is some awesome technology that we're bringing into the city to help us. On the 7s to the 10s, does every officer on the force have a taser accessible currently?
No.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Will they moving forward?
Not under this, no.
Okay.
Even with this amount of funding, we're still limited to certain officers.
Okay. And you said we get a credit. Will we send the 7s back and receive 10s? Is that how?
Yes.
Okay.
And that the credit will kind of move forward toward the next
future building.
contract, yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Councilor Corina Suaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. I love the idea of changing these tasers to the newly, the more high-tech ones. Number one, it can de-escalate these dangerous situations without using the deadly force, which to me is amazing. They can save not only the lives of the residents, but they can also save the lives of the actual person that is being tased, because you're not using a gun. This is amazing. I'm so happy with this. The only question I have, you just said that they're not enough per officers. Will each shift have an officer that will have a taser?
Yeah, do you have the numbers, right?
Yeah, when we started the TASER program probably 10 years ago at this point, we chose to do an elective program. And when it comes to equipment and agencies, you have 2 choices, everyone or a select people. Doing a voluntary program I'm a huge proponent of, because these officers ask to be on the TASER list. They ask to get one. And what that does, it creates a refresh for us of the people that are, like, they're motivated to stay up with what they're supposed to be doing. There's a lot of procedures with the TASER. It's a lot of extra work for the officer. And there's certain officers that it would be a drag on the agency to be issuing them a piece of equipment which they're not going to properly maintain. The 50 officers that we have, they're TASER officers, we make sure they're focused on patrol. So, great example, if you become an SRO, we pull the TASER, because we don't want the TASERs in the schools. We give that to a patrol officer. And we make sure those officers are spread out. So right now I have a list of officers that want the TASER. We look at the shifts, and we see our coverage on the shifts, and make sure that we have a good spread of those officers on the shifts. So it's important. I'm a big proponent of elective specialty assignments and equipment. We want the people that are motivated and want the device, and that will then use it in compliance with their training and statute. So.
Thank you very much. Motion to approve.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm in favor of this, so I'm just going to call for a roll call vote here.
Shall the City Council approve the 5-year contract between Axon Enterprises, Inc. and the City of Revere relative to upgrading less lethal control devices to the TASER 10? Counselor Argenzio.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Janino is absent. Counselor Guarino Sawaya.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Mercurio.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes, the contract has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Back to the regular order of business.
Calendar item number 7, communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Lily Martinez to the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Appointments?
Calendar item number 8, communication from the city auditor relative, requesting various amendments to the Revere revised ordinances table of fees.
Mr. CFO.
Good evening, Rich Visky, 281 Broadway, CFO. As you probably recall, we came in before the council earlier this year with some fee adjustments, and we actually got some additional adjustments through our fire prevention office and I believe city clerk and a few others. So we just want to kind of get this all squared away once and for all, and looking forward to having further discussion on this at an open hearing, but this is a continuation of the fee survey we did and adjusting these fees to catch up with surrounding communities. Happy to answer any questions.
So I guess you have a new schedule of fees, or is there something, is that what we're trying to do, approve something tonight?
Yeah, I believe that schedule was submitted with the council order,
Okay,
but I believe it needs to go to public hearing according to the city clerk.
okay. Any questions? Councilor Mercurio.
Just one question, Mr. Viskey. The parking lot park and fly and commercial storage is $200 per space.
Yes,
What was it before?
I'd have to check for sure.
I'm new to this, so I just want.
No,
Point
no,
of
it's-
information, I believe it's been
I
200
think
for
it's-
quite a while.
I believe it's been 200,
Yeah,
yes.
and-
For
So
quite a while?
Yeah, it's
I-
pretty
I-
expensive.
I would like to increase that because there's going to be a proposal on the table for possibly 289 cars located in the trailer park.
That just withdrew.
I'll just have to check. Some of these fees are set by state law and such, so
Okay.
I'll just have to see if they are able to be increased, but I can certainly do some research and maybe make an amendment before the public hearing on that particular item.
Okay, great. I know they
Thank you.
withdrew their proposal for that, but it might come back to us.
Oh, and I agree,
Okay, so,
but I'm pretty sure that is set by the state, but we'll find out.
Okay.
and
Thank you, Mr. President, I appreciate it.
Always looking to charge more fees. I didn't mean you, I meant the city. Councilor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. President. One quick question, Rich. Is it possible, Councilor Mercurio just sparked this, but is it possible to get this table from what the fee was into what it is now, so that we can see the difference? Is that in there as well?
Certainly.
Piece of cake. Thank you.
Okay, so on the motion? It's going to public hearing? It's an ordinance change, yeah, so it needs to go to public hearing. Order to a public hearing on February 23rd.
Thank you, Council.
Sorry for that mental block.
Motions, calendar item number 11. Motion presented by Councilor Cogliandro that the mayor be requested to direct the chief of police to install a traffic camera at the intersection of Cushman Ave and Adams Street on utility pole number 1370. This request was previously submitted under motion 24-237 in July of '24 and was unanimously approved by the council. However, the camera was not installed due to the lack of available funding.
Counselor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am going to place this on file. I did speak to the chief. This camera is being funded through a grant and will be installed in the next round of installations. Thank you.
Placed on file.
Calendar item number 12, motion presented by Councilor McKenna, that the City Council request Tammy Saporito of National Grid to appear before the City Council to address citywide issues of double poles and streetlight outages. Further, that all city councilors be requested to compile a list of National Grid work orders and issues to present to Ms. Saporito at the proposed meeting.
Counselor McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. President. It really speaks for itself, but I would just like to say that Dan Cameron, who took Tammy, who retired, and Tammy took his place, he was up here every 6 months talking about double poles, and we were grilling him and trying to fix it, and we did fix a lot of it. But now, we haven't had anybody come here for National Grid to talk about the issue of double poles and street lightage that are out, it's ridiculous. So I'm asking the council, when she's scheduled to come, to have a list of your poles that you want to address. And, because I don't think she might have a list, but on different wards on what double poles are. But I'd really like to address the street outages. Because there's a lot of street lights that are out. So I'm asking the council to just come up with the list so we can hand it to her. Okay, is that funny?
I apologize. I'm trying to see
No, I wasn't talking to you,
trying to
Mr.
see what
President.
happened to the program.
I don't know what happened to the program, but I'm asking her to come up and talk in front of the council. So, thank you.
We're gonna have to work to bring that program back. We're not gonna do it here tonight, I don't believe, but we will work to get that back. On the motion, all in favor? All opposed? So
Calendar item number 13, motion presented by Councilor McKenna, that the City Council order to a public hearing an ordinance further amending Title 12 of the Revere Revised Ordinances relative to construction procedures for street and sidewalk openings.
Counselor McKenna.
Thank you. So I would really like to create an ordinance for National Grid and all the utility companies. National Grid comes into our city, cuts our streets, then patches it when they are finished. With inclement weather and time, eventually their patches corrode into sinkholes and divots, leaving drivers and pedestrians vulnerable. A perfect example is Wave Avenue in Beachmont that is totally sinking. 4 years ago, as a part of putting in new pipes around the neighborhood, National Grid committed to repaving this road. They never did. Multiple calls have been made by the city engineer and myself, but National Grid keeps on pushing back the starting time. This ordinance will create National Grid and any other utility companies when applying for permits to pave curb to curb instead of doing patch jobs that don't work. Thank you.
Counselor Novoselsky.
Mr. President, through you to Councilor McKenna, does this include contractors in developing new buildings? Because that happens, they put in new water work and new drainage. Well, that's a state highway too, but I just want to make sure that we hit all the construction people and make sure that the Public Works oversees these and make sure that the work is done appropriately. Thank you.
Counselor Argencio.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I think this is a great idea. However, there's a couple of things we need to look into. I don't know if a city ordinance has jurisdiction over a utility.
We don't.
So I think maybe some advice from the city solicitor is if this ordinance you're trying to cure a problem, but I don't know if our ordinance overrides a utility. And the second thing I'd like to bring up is if a homeowner is hiring a company to put in a new sewer line, this cost would be directly passed on to the homeowner. So a homeowner that has to repair a sewer line or something may have to pay, a much larger amount of money. This happened, there's a gentleman on Suffolk Avenue. We had just paved Suffolk Avenue, and he wanted to convert to gas, and the city denied him because we had just paved. But then the city did acquiesce and said, well, if you do this, we need a 10-foot wide swath curb to curb. And the homeowner had to pay an extra $3,000 to National Grid to do this. And then within, I don't know, maybe 2 months, the city came by and had a water break, and they had a little patch. And then on the other side of him, there was a gas leak, and then there was a little patch. And he felt he was really raked over the coals for this $3,000, and he was very upset. So I agree with the motion, but I think we need to have some information or maybe some relief for homeowners that are converting to gas or putting in a sewer line, so that we don't price them right out of the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Kelly?
Thank you. Just a quick question, and I don't know, maybe Councilor Argenzio might have some insight into this, but if this were a larger construction company and there were contracts, would it be possible that the terms of this may conflict with any of the terms in the contract?
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly, yes.
So just something to think about.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a great idea, and believe me, I'd like the roads paved the way they're supposed to be paved, but I think we need to just cover our homeowners so they're not paying an exorbitant fee for some work that they're probably just squeaking by trying to get done.
Unintended consequences, absolutely. Counselor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Mr. President. I remember years ago, we passed an ordinance or a rule that once a street is paved, nobody can cut it open unless there's an emergency for 5 years. And, as far as I know, that's still in effect. So, DPW and site plan review should be overseeing that and watching it and making sure that things like that are taken care of.
I'm sure some people don't even know that exists. On the motion, we'll send this to a public hearing on February 23rd.
Calendar item number 14, motion presented by Councilor Janino that the City Council present a certificate of commendation to firefighter Frank Berry in recognition of his retirement after 29 years of dedicated service to the City of Revere. I did receive a call from Councilor Janino today. He wanted to add Councilor Guarino-Sawaya to that motion as well.
On the motion. Oh, wait a minute. Councilor Guarino-Sawaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilor Janino would like to see this come to fruition at our next meeting with the other first responders, if that's possible.
On the motion? All in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 15, motion presented by Councilors Argenzio, McKenna, and Mercurio, that the mayor and superintendent of public works be requested to include a line item in the upcoming public works budget preparation specifically for the planting of street trees and installation of tree pits along city streets. The planting of trees in an urban area such as Revere is vitally important to the air quality and quality of life. A suggested amount for the FY27 budget is between $10,000 and $20,000, with a goal of increasing this amount in subsequent budgets.
Councilor Argenzio.
Thank you, Mr. President. The city has kind of fallen behind in its tree planting program. We have an excellent program where we remove dead trees, trim trees, but the planting of trees has kind of fallen away, and it's extremely important in an urban area. I know we have a DCR planting program, and they do an excellent job, and I'm very appreciative that they can come in and plant trees for us and plant trees for owners of private property. But we shouldn't just be relying on the DCR. I spoke to Mr. Ian Briggs, who's in charge of the program, and he gave me a list of trees that they've planted in the calendar year of 2024 and 2025. They planted 217 trees in Revere. But one of the things, 168 of them were on private property, 14 were on state property. There were only 22 trees that were actually planted on city streets. So, like I say, very appreciative of what they do, but I think we need to have a hand in this and really push this tree planting program. There are plenty of empty tree pits around the city that could be filled with trees. Another thing that happens is when we do our streets over with Chapter 90 money, you can spend Chapter 90 money putting trees in on these streets, and the city has kind of let that go. We've had a lot of sidewalks and streets done over the last few years with no planting of any city street trees. I know we did kind of let the homeowners decide if they wanted one in front of their house, but it's really not their property, and we really need to concentrate on lining our city streets with some trees. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. President. Everybody knows I'm a tree hugger. 5 streets this summer were redone by the city, and only 6 trees were planted. It's a disgrace. We are allowing residents to make the choice on whether they want a tree or not, and leaning towards not planting them because they don't want, I don't know, the feedback, bad feedback. These are city sidewalks, and the city should take over the say on where a tree goes. A study from the National Conservatory last month concludes that tree coverings in a low-income urban community has the widest tree-covered disparity in the northeast part of the United States. Residents in the city oppose trees in front of their property because they feel they are messy, they uproot sidewalks, and cause water and sewer damage. But if they're placed strategically, they will not cause a problem for residents. These new trees are designed to grow 15 to 20 feet. They are not the large elm trees that when we were kids that once grew. It is important to know that trees are an essential part of a healthy environment in a heavily urban city like Revere. Especially in Beachmont and the Point Pines, air pollution and extreme noise is a constant factor as airplanes fly morning and night, skimming these areas before departing and descending. If the winds are blowing towards Beachmont, there is a constant smell of air fuel extracted by aircrafts departing and descending over the tarmac. Fuel is also dumped on a daily basis from planes passing over neighborhoods. Residents' health is definitely at risk. Trees catch fuel, dumping gives off oxygen, collects carbon dioxide that is caused from pollution. This is necessary. We need to be better at this. You go to Winthrop, you go to Everett, Chelsea even, and there's a lot of trees. And I don't know what's going on becoming a concrete city. So I urge the city to do a better job. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mercurio?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to briefly speak to the importance of investing in a street tree program here in the city of Revere, especially in a densely populated neighborhood where green space is limited. Street trees are not just decorative, they are essential urban infrastructure. They help reduce extreme heat, improve air quality, manage stormwater, and make our streets safer and more walkable. In communities like ours, trees directly improve public health, neighborhood pride, and overall quality of life. The proposed $20,000 allocation from the city will allow us to plant 20 2.5-inch caliber trees, which is standard size for long-term urban survival. This funding is a solid start, but it's important to be clear, it only scratches the surface of what's needed citywide. If we are serious about climate resilience, sidewalk safety, and neighborhood improvements, we will need to invest more in future budget cycles. To stretch these dollars further, I negotiated with a local reputable landscape company to donate and demonstrate 2 different tree pit covering options at no cost to the city: a poured-in-place rubber tree pit and a plastic tree grate system. Both options improve sidewalk safety by reducing trip hazards, protect tree roots, lower long-term maintenance costs, and enhance the overall appearance of our streets. This approach allows us to best test practices, support local businesses, and make smarter long-term decisions while keeping costs down. In closing, this funding represents an important first step, but for this program to be truly effective, it must be expanded and sustained. I urge the council to support this investment and to view it as the foundation for a stronger, greener, and more resilient Revere. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
I'm going to be the oddball, but that's okay. While this motion would be an excellent opportunity to expand tree planting and install tree pits throughout the city, both of which greatly do improve the air quality and overall quality of life, I believe it is equally important to incorporate resident input. Residents should have the opportunity to weigh in on whether they want a tree or a tree pit adjacent to their property before any installation takes place. For example, the sidewalks, which belong to the city, the residents have to clean up when there's a snowstorm. The residents should have an input on whether they want the tree in front of their house or not, because those trees eventually get bigger, and what happens is they uproot that sidewalk. How many times have I had to call the DPW that a child has fallen on a sidewalk that a tree has uprooted? Then, my other issue is, Councilor McKenna mentioned the Point of Pines residents. Well, people purchase homes in the Point of Pines, Oak Island, even Beachmont, and Riverside to either have oceanfront, ocean view, or Riverside, like the river view, and you want to put a tree in front of the house? Not if they don't want it. I don't think it's fair to the residents who purchase their homes to have riverfront, oceanfront, whatever views to be told that, oh, you're going to have a tree in front of your house. Forget all the money you spent on your house because I'm putting the tree there anyway. It's just not right. I think residents need to have input. Sorry.
Thank you. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items on this, and I agree with Councilor McKenna and Councilor Mercurio. Now, in the last 3 years, I've had two streets done. Not one tree pit was cut in that new sidewalks. Over the last 3 years, I've put in requests for 22 trees that have not been done yet. Now, I'm wondering if $20,000 is enough. But, you know, we pass a budget, and the mayor should be providing the money that we ask him to put into the budget so we can do these trees. And as far as, you know, the sidewalks coming up, the new trees they're putting in now, the way the roots are growing are not raising sidewalks. The old ones are, but I know the new ones are not raising the sidewalks. And I have many, many pits, empty tree pits with dirt in them that have never been filled with asphalt temporarily or anything, and people are falling over them. Now, as far as putting trees, now, all the trees that I've talked to people about, I don't put them right in front of their house. They have property lines in between them. I put them at their property line so it's not directly in front of their house, and they love it. You know, and I think it's a real good idea, so they don't have that tree sticking outside their window. It's off to the side a little. And one thing, as far as the height of trees, the city engineer has determined that we're not going to be putting trees on the same sides of telephone poles. because of the way they grow, and when the National Grid comes in and they trim a tree, it looks like a Y, like a slingshot. So I don't have a problem with that, but, and I make sure that when someone asks for a tree, it's not, if it's on the side of a pole, I say, we can't do it. Bottom line, has to be non-pole sided. And when they do put to a tree, National Grid requires a 10-foot length on either side of a gas line, not to put in a tree within that 20 feet. So, and I'm sure the same things with a water line. So those are just my things about it, and everybody take it from a point of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Silvestri?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say I fully agree with this motion. I've actually have gotten quite a few calls this past year about DCR not getting around to the neighborhoods enough, so I think us helping that solve that is a step in the right direction. So thank you. Fully support this motion.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I can see both sides of this. On the one hand, residents pay property taxes. They buy a home, they pay the taxes. They should definitely have a say in what goes in front of their house or to the side of their house. On the other hand, we do not want to become a concrete city and not have any shade and trees and, lose the aesthetics of what the trees provide. So I find it hard to believe that we couldn't make an improvement and make some headway on this while also still respecting those residents who may want to opt out and maybe just meet in the middle instead of just, one broad sweep without asking anyone's input. We might get some people that refuse, but we probably will get a lot that will say yes, and that will, make everyone happy, I think. It was unfortunate that we lost a couple of opportunities, specifically Washington Ave, when that project was done, that we didn't implement any trees there or ask any residents. So I don't think we should be losing out on those opportunities in the future to at least get some resident input to try to put some in, if not all. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Cogliandro?
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with Councilor Kelly. That was pretty much one of the things I was going to say. I do see both sides of this, but I want to say that I did take advantage of the DCR program, and I got 4 new trees this year planted. They do a wonderful job. And I also am the financial impact statement guy. And because this is over $15,000 potentially, do we need a financial impact statement on this before we pass this motion? So because it's a budget, in addition to the budget?
It's a request for the budget, so it's not, there's no...
Just making sure. Thank you.
On the motion.
Mr.
Sorry,
President?
Counsel.
Could I have my 1 minute?
You have your 1 minute rebuttal, and we're following the rule. We're following the rules here.
I just want to respond to what Councilor Novoselsky said. The city engineer, who was also the tree warden, did make that statement about no trees under wires. And I totally disagree with that. The National Grid and the DCR have appropriate trees that they recommend to plant under wires. They only grow 12, 15 feet. They never reach the wires, and National Grid and DCR both have appropriate varieties that they recommend. So I don't see taking 50% of the city and not being able to plant trees. There are trees that can be planted under wires that don't ever reach that height. So I think in the future, maybe we could call him up here and have a little discussion about where trees can go and where they can't. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for keeping that under a minute. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
I'm sorry, I would like to put an amendment to this motion. And the amendment should say with resident input. Well,
You want to accept the...
I'm sorry, I have to put it in.
Want to accept the amendment? No. Okay.
Roll call.
On the original motion, all in favor, all opposed?
No.
Council Guarino Sawaya is recorded as no.
No.
You hate trees.
Thank you.
Let's have a roll call on this motion.
Thank you.
Are we doing it as amended?
No.
Why don't we take the amendment first and then take it?
Take a roll call on the amendment first?
All right. Let's have a roll call on the amendment.
Well, just sort of clarification, there's nothing in here, in the motion, the present motion, that says anything about residents'
So what are we
input.
amending?
I mean, that's, okay.
So she wants to add the resident, no, you're going to have to do a separate motion.
Mr. President, this motion is to add a line item to the budget. I don't think adding a line about resident input would be appropriate or fitting.
Okay.
And I'm not, I understand what Councilor Guarino Sawaya is trying to do. I don't think this is the place to do this.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to vote on this motion as is, and if Council Guarino Sawaya wants to put a future motion in, we can do that. But this is just for a funding request, and I agree with the councilor that you can't really amend that. So, on the original motion, roll call.
Roll call on the original motion as proposed by Councilors Argenzio, McKenna, and Mercurio. Councilor Argenzio.
Yes?
Yes. Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Janito is absent. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
No.
No. Councilor Haas is absent. Councilor Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Mercurio.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri. Yes. Yes. And Council President Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes, the motion is approved. Calendar item number 16, motion presented by Councilor Guarino Sawaya, that the mayor request the Department of Planning and Community Development to provide the city council with an update on the usage of results of the Quant AQ monitors to study air quality in Ward 5.
Council Guarino Sawaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to hold my comments for when Tom comes up to speak about it.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed?
Calendar item number 17, motion presented by Councilor Guarino Sawaya, that the mayor request the Traffic Commission and the Department of Public Works to evaluate and, if deemed appropriate, install and/or paint do not block the box pavement markings and appropriate signage at the intersection of Revere Street and North Shore Road, following a resident's continued complaints regarding vehicles frequently blocking the intersection, creating safety concerns for pedestrians, emergency vehicles, and motorists.
Council Guarino Sawaya.
Motion speaks for itself.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 18, motion presented by Councilor Guarino Sawaya, that the mayor and the Inspectional Services Department, in coordination with Public Works and the Police Department, to develop and implement a standardized construction accountability and neighborhood protection plan for all active construction or infrastructure upgrade projects citywide. Such plan shall include, but not limited to, 1, a publicly accessible compliance checklist outlining requirements related to noise, hours of operation, debris control, safety fencing, sidewalk access, and on-street parking impacts. 2, a requirement that each construction site designate a clearly identified on-site compliance contact available to the ward councilor, residents, and city departments. 3, routine and documented inspections throughout the duration of construction, not solely at project commencement. 4, a graduated enforcement process with meaningful penalties for repeat or ongoing violations, including fines, potential work stoppages where applicable. And 5, a mechanism for residents to report violations in real time with clear response protocols and follow-up. Further, that the administration provide the city council with a status update and implementation timeline in a reasonable timeframe.
Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our neighbors deserve construction and infrastructure projects that are safe, transparent, and respectful to the community. Too often, I've noticed that residents experience excessive noise, blocked sidewalks, safety hazards, and unclear accountability during construction projects. There are more than one construction job going on at a time, and you don't know who's doing what and who's responsible for what. So I think a checklist will help with implementing this and finding out who is responsible. The plan ensures that every project has clear rules, publicly accessible checklist, on-site compliance contacts, and routine inspections. It creates a graduated enforcement process with meaningful consequences for repeat violations. I can't even tell you how many times I shut a job site down. I can't. And give residents a simple way to report issues in real time. By implementing the standardized accountability and neighborhood protection plan, we can balance progress with the quality of life in our community. It is about transparency, safety, and respect for the residents, for the workers, and for the city as a whole. The residents right now, we're being and I'm talking about the Point of Pines area in particular right now. We have the MWR8 project going on, and then they're getting ready to do the roundabout project. There's construction materials everywhere. There's closures here, closures there, plus they're doing the work on the General Edwards Bridge. I need to know what equipment belongs to who, where it is, and how it's impacting the neighbors, and why you're doing construction at this time when you should be stopping at this time. There needs to be some form of accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? Counselor McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. President. I put a motion in a couple of months ago because the residents in your ward, Counselor, they were complaining about they couldn't even park in front of their house across the street because the construction workers were taking up all their parking spaces. And I asked if they could be bussed in, and nothing was done. So, but I get the point of what you're trying to make here. It is a big problem for the city. So, thank you.
Counselor Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this is fantastic, and I think we need it. My concern is that if it's strong enough to be implemented, I mean, it looks good on paper. I just hope that we can get control over it enough so that it can be implemented correctly. I don't know if we would need, an additional department to handle this, who exactly would handle it. I think the at-large counselors should also be privy to the information. But I think it's a great idea. Again, there might be some contractual terms in this that conflict with terms of, within contracts that we might have with contractors. So I hope we can implement it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Thank you, Counselor Kelly. Counselor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I think it's a good idea, and I agree with Councilor Kelly. I don't know how much can be overseen with it, because it's mostly, even though you have all the departments involved in it, but we have to realize too, and I don't really know what construction is going on down the Pines, other than new water pipes and the bridge. But we have no control over state contracts, only those that are working for the city on city property. So if they're doing something, like on the Linway, we have no control over those folks. But anybody that's on our city property, I say, yes, we do have a control over in some sense of a manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Guarino-Sawaya.
I would like to add counselors at large to this motion as well. And as far as Counselor Novoselsky, they do impact the Point of Pines and Riverside neighborhoods, whether they're on the Lynn General Edwards Bridge or not. All their equipment they throw on the Point of Pines side or the Riverside side, which is actually, it may be state property, but it's impacting the residents. And then not only that, when they shut down those roads, they're impacting the traffic. We can't get home. We literally cannot get home. They can't leave because nobody wants to let you out because you're too busy trying to get up to the North Shore somewhere. And we can't get out of the streets. And then we can't get home. It's crazy. You have no idea how long it takes for me to get home from here. So thank you.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 19, motion presented by Councilors Guarino-Sawaya and Janino that the mayor request Julie DeMoro and the Traffic Advisory Committee to draft a proposed ordinance amendment to Title 10 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere Establishing clear definitions and procedures for the use of speed tables and portable speed bumps, including but not limited to, 1, definitions distinguishing speed tables from portable speed bumps. 2, criteria and guidelines for placement, including roadway type, traffic volume, proximity to schools, parks, senior housing, and pedestrian-heavy areas. 3, a formal application and approval process. 4, a schedule and inventory listing within Title 10 identifying approved locations and duration of use. And 5, maintenance, removal, and seasonal protocols to ensure consistency, safety, and transparency citywide.
Councilor Guino Sawaya.
I would like to send this to traffic, please. Could we send it to traffic?
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed?
There are 2 late motions. Calendar item number 20, late motion presented by Councilor Cogliandro, that the City Council award a certificate of merit to Asani Anderson, a second grader at the Wayland School, in recognition of his quick life-saving actions on January 13th to save a classmate who was choking during lunch.
Councilor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've never put in a certificate of merit request before. This is my first one, and I think it's incredibly deserving. We had an 8-year-old who, when asked, how did you know how to stop him from choking, he says, my dad taught me. And you hit him in the back, and the child stopped choking, and he legitimately saved his life. And I think that
Unbelievable.
it completely warrants a certificate of merit, and I hope you'll all support it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else? That's quite a kid. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Late motion presented by Councilor Zambudo, that the City Council order to a public hearing, a zoning ordinance further amending Title 17 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere relative to special permits.
I guess I need permission to speak on my motion here, correct? Yes. Thank you. So let's get a couple of things straight. The proposed amendments will provide the City Council oversight to residential developments within districts zoned for business. The proposed amendments do not eliminate the ZBA, as some people have been spreading around. The City Council will need to approve the residential use first by special permit, and if dimensional relief is needed, the applicant then applies to the ZBA. So that's what I'm putting this in. I'm sure you've all read it, and I'm sure you've all heard about it, and I'm looking to send this to a public hearing.
Mr. President,
Councilor Novoselsky.
you know, it's good that you want to look and do something about this, but I think we ought to discuss this a little further so that everybody really understands what's going on. And
Well,
I think it should be put in a committee before the public hearing, then have the public hearing and let the committee hear what's going on afterwards.
Well, that's a point of disagreement between you and I. I think that it could go to a public hearing, then go to committee. It doesn't mean because it goes to a public hearing that anything's etched in stone that's not going to be worked out in committee. So I don't see the reason to go to committee first, but that's up to the council. And, you know, I think that there's going to be a lot of discussion on everything that's in here. And I'm sure it's not going to be all the way it's written. And there's some implications of the famous MBTA Community Act. So there's a lot of stuff to go along with it. And it's eventually going to go to committee. I'd like to send it to a public hearing and then go to committee, but that's up to the council.
Mr. President?
Councilor Cogliandro.
It's an ordinance change, correct?
It is.
So wouldn't it go to zoning after the public hearing?
Yes, of course it does.
So then let's hash it out there.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. So it's going to a public hearing on the 23rd of February. No further business. We will meet on the 9th of February, excuse me. Thank you all.